I'm gonna have
Hey, we're live. Hey, everybody. It's Malachi. It's Pio with Pio, John, and Nick. This is Nifty Culture. We're going to be dropping some of the frequency of our live streams and really focusing more on trying to do a Tech Tuesday and then a Friday happy hours, and then upload as much content as possible.
All right. People got to wear headphones, but anyway, yes. Well, Malachi,
that was in headphones. I had it on the stream. Sorry, so it went live.
All right. So this is Tech Tuesdays. We have the honor of being joined by John, the man that refuses to come on stream and talk about Ethereum. So it's amazing that he's here right now. The man who loves Ethereum and refuses to talk about it. And then a pleasant surprise for me, the sophisticated art speculator, Mr. Nick. How's it going, Nick?
Good. Finally got some time freed up. Got back from the trip I took. Looking at the NFT market right now, it's interesting. We're definitely past halfway in the bull market. I think that's the conservative way to word it.
I think that's totally fair. And yeah, man, I know that, you got a lot going on. You got projects that you're actually a part of, projects that you've ripped ownership away from the creators of and are running with, aka the Pickle Project.
Could have made so much money, but decided to meme it instead.
That's how it goes sometimes. So, Malachi, I don't know if you had a topic you wanted to start with.
No, I thought, there's one of the things to just start the conversation around would be there's a lot of people claiming that they got hacked on this bananas project. So I think let's spend a couple minutes talking about the bananas and how it's unlikely that people are getting hacked because they purchased bananas. And then let's we can pivot and start talking about the tech. I know you're short, actually, Pio, I know you're short today. So do you want to hop straight into crypto and then we can come back to bananas since you're not going to be on with us for very long?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I'll be on for about 35 more minutes, and then if you guys will probably keep going. If I know you guys well enough, then I'll be able to come back. But yeah. So my question, right? Like everyone knows, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. John, you're not a Bitcoin maximalist.
No.
So I want to just hear, let me ask you this. How do you feel about Ethereum competing with Bitcoin Layer 2, also known as the Lightning Network? How do you feel about the recent, I'll call it like gas fee manipulation? And how do you feel about where Cardano is in the world right now?
Okay. So I'm not opposed to Bitcoin, but I will just throw a general idea out that now this is not tech related. Let me just divert here for a second. I'll get back to your original question, Pio, but it's something that's on my mind about Bitcoin and something that a lot of people don't think about. And the question is what is the value of Bitcoin? And I'll open it up to you guys. Just it's a straightforward question you can answer. Pio, I mean, you're not a maximalist, but you do prefer Bitcoin. Why do you like Bitcoin? What property specifically about Bitcoin do you like?
Yeah, so I mean, we can get into this. Me and Daniel actually did a half-hour conversation that's going to be released in the next, in the next day or two on Bitcoin specifically too. We both sported our sunglasses the whole time to shield the audience because we don't want to hurt anybody, right? Because if you take the sunglasses off, the laser eyes are going to go through the computer and kill everybody.
Yeah, that's what we call the Danny, right? That's the Danny.
That's the Danny. So me and Danny both were very careful to get the sunglasses on our faces before we started talking about Bitcoin, because otherwise you never know what's going to happen. So John, the reason that Bitcoin to me is the gold of the digital ecosystem is because it was modeled after gold and there isn't really much design space for someone else to come and improve it. I had this eureka moment in late 2020. I'm late to the game in crypto. I started buying Bitcoin in March 2020 and it took me like 6 months, 100+ hours of research and buying it, like actually buying and owning it, having investment in it to get to the point where I really felt like I understood it, right? And so when I think about Bitcoin, I had a eureka moment where I was like, if somebody wanted to compete with Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin layer 1 competes with gold and silver. If somebody wants to compete with that, they would literally just have to make another Bitcoin and there wouldn't be any incentive for anyone to mine it because they'd say, you just made another Bitcoin. I'm just going to mine actual Bitcoin, right? And I'm I'm not saying that Ethereum doesn't fill a certain need in the market or fill a certain sort of use case. But my thing is that Ethereum does have competitors. It competes with Bitcoin layer 2. It competes with Cardano. It competes with, you know, all these other crypto assets. Whereas Bitcoin is the digital gold, right? It has the perfect design. And I know people get so mad at me when I say perfect, but to me, it really is perfect, right? The 10-minute settlement, you know, the invention of blockchain, which is a pretty big deal, 21 million Bitcoins, the halving structure to make it deflationary. These are the things about Bitcoin that to me make it impossible to replicate, and thus the gold of the digital ecosystem. Other altcoins, other assets will outperform it over short time periods, right? But over 100 years, I do not think that any other crypto asset or any other like stock or anything will outperform it, because it is the truly decentralized asset.
So let me kind of walk it back a little bit. So if I'm hearing you correctly, for you, Bitcoin, you know, it sounds like its value is the store of value narrative. That's what you're latching on to for Bitcoin, if I'm understanding you correctly. That's what you like about it.
So yes, just give me 1 second.
So same for you, Mal. I mean, and Nick, you too. I mean, I don't know where you guys are at Bitcoin, but I get the feeling in talking to most people now, it wasn't always the case, but now most people gravitate towards Bitcoin because of the store of value narrative. And essentially, store of value in that it's a perfect inflation hedge. Does anybody disagree or think there's some sort of value outside of Bitcoin?
Yeah, I used to just buy Bitcoin before I really learned about Ethereum. I thought Ethereum was just like a shitcoin, but then when you actually understand it's like the ecosystem and you get into it and you start using it, you become addicted. But for me, I like Bitcoin for a percentage of my portfolio because it's almost like the Dow Jones. You're not going to get these fantastic returns relative to other cryptocurrencies, but you're going to get probably more stability in the long term, you know, in terms of like growth. And I do think that a lot of people look at it like a gold, you know what I mean, or an industrial hedge. And then I look at Ethereum like that's the QQQ, that's NASDAQ, or that's like growth tech, you know what I mean? Much higher returns because there's a lot more development happening there, a lot more innovation happening there, but also it's more volatile and there's, you know, like more risk. But I like both, but I don't think Bitcoin is ever going to compete with Ethereum, like, because not only do you have to build a equal or better system, but then you have to get all of this development to build over there. It's like the internet, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they had different ways of building the internet earlier on, right? Like ICANN with the domains and, you know, HTTP and what kind of code we're using, but eventually everything kind of becomes standardized, right? Like, and one system kind of wins out. There's only one Amazon, right? So I'd say there's going to be one network. It's going to be Cardano, or it's going to be Ethereum, or it's going to be something that allows mini chains to sprout off it like a virus or something like that. But Bitcoin's, I don't think it's going to be that. I would rather bet on like 8 different chains to do that than Bitcoin.
So if we take it back just to the core, it sounds like for Bitcoin, for you, it's the store of value. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I just want to be
store of value. It's pure play store of value. Just like right now in my E-Trade, I have some gold to hedge, and I have a lot of growth tech for the boom.
And Malachi, your thoughts, same thing, store of value for you, or is there something else outside of that that drives you to want to? Because I saw the last stream where you said you were kind of scaling out of Ethereum, which, you know, to me is taboo to scale out of it into anything. But specifically, you know, Bitcoin, what exactly besides the store of value is there anything? It doesn't have to be. Most people say that's it, right? That's a great property for most folks.
So I think like one of the things is I had over rotated, in my opinion, on Ethereum. I wanted to be just a little bit more balanced, especially with a lot of the uncertainty in the market right now. I also think that one of the things that's important is, you know, Vitalik has been getting out in front, talking a lot more. I've been learning a lot more about Cardano. I've been learning a lot more about some of the infighting, really learning more about Satoshi and kind of the perfect elements behind that. And so, and a lot of that does go back to that perfect store of value. Well, not perfect store of value, but better store of value versus some of the other things that could be going on out there. But I think that, I'm a little bit wishy-washy on this topic. I'm not happy that I rotated back into Bitcoin, but I still, Danny talks about it quite a bit. Like whenever he has enough to buy a chunk of Bitcoin, he moves it all over and then puts it all in Bitcoin. Right now I think like I'm trying to acquire more Ethereum, either through trading these crazy collectibles and making micro profits where I can. But I do want to have a balanced portfolio. And so while I said I'm moving more over, it's not that I'm going to go 100% Bitcoin or 100% Ethereum. I think I'm going to try and get right now I was trying to get to a 70-30 Ethereum Bitcoin mix, and then obviously the altcoins. But now I'm trying to, for the short term, get back to a 50-50 mix. So I'm not swinging too hard. I'm just trying to balance just a little bit.
Okay, so I'm just trying to, I'm going to kind of throw the argument on its head. So, like I said, most of the time when you ask people what draws them to Bitcoin, it's usually store of value and the fact that it's a perfect inflation hedge, right? And that's clear to see. Now I'm going to ask a question that people don't generally ask is, does the existence of a perfect inflation hedge, is that actually good for society? Has anybody ever actually stopped to think if Bitcoin is actually good for the world? And let me tell you why. Does anybody understand what the purpose of inflation is?
It's
right, because so have you ever heard of something called a wealth tax? You guys understand how this is floated around in the Democratic Party in the U.S. They talk about a wealth tax, and the purpose of a wealth tax is basically to eat away at stranded value. So if you look at what Bitcoin really is, it's a mechanism to exchange value. And if you have a perfect inflation hedge in society, what that means is that you can now theoretically actually have generational wealth that becomes stranded. And the last thing you want is some boob that figured out about Bitcoin early and everybody plowing real value into that and that being stranded forever. So the question is Bitcoin actually a good thing? And so you have to ask, does the world, can you have a productive economy with an actual perfect inflation hedge? And so that's a question for you guys. Have you ever thought about the fact that maybe Bitcoin, a perfect inflation hedge, is not a good thing for society as a whole?
I mean, maybe, but you could make that same moral argument about gold. Is there any value to
gold isn't perfect.
a bunch of way more gold than we need for any utility purpose to be sitting in warehouses in bar shapes collecting dust for hundreds or thousands of years and mining that all out of the ground when we don't even need it? Is that productive or like good for society?
And so real quick,
gold isn't perfect.
No,
Bitcoin is the first perfect inflation hedge. Right? So, I mean, you can move it. I mean, you can move it. It's liquid.
John, so, I want to double click down on your question. When you think about like the hedge against inflation and the stagnation of markets, and are we entering a post-capitalism type world? When you remove inflation and you remove these types of things, efficiencies of the market hypothetically make costs of goods cheaper. So hypothetically, we could go into an environment where we have a lot less inflation, and now our cost of cars continues to drop as we innovate. Our cost of televisions continues to drop. Our cost of refrigerated air continues to drop. When we think about books like Steven Pinker's Enlightenment Now, and we think about the fact that like we are literally in the best time to be alive ever, as if just purely from a human element, and the aspect of like calories are cheaper than they've ever been, the poverty line, like, and this is provocative stuff, but like, what is the definition of poverty? You can be in poverty and have cheap access to food. You can have a flat screen TV. You can have all of these things. And then you also think about some of the features or bugs in a lot of the fiat-based currencies where we could hypothetically decrease inflation and also lower costs of goods. So there are these other benefits, and you can't just talk about removing inflation with also talking about the other side of the pendulum, which would imply that we could lower a lot of these goods. And we could also and this is going to come weird for me because historically I've been a pretty conservative fella, but then when you think about UBI and a lot of the stuff that can be automated in the future, like I do think that like there is a utopia that can be achieved from that standpoint. And yes, I mean, this is apples to oranges in terms of what the inflation could exist from an Ethereum standpoint versus Bitcoin, but I think like you can also make arguments that Bitcoin doesn't have to be inflationary to be good at fixing other problems in society.
Yeah, and if I could chime in, I actually
non-inflationary.
Yes,
No.
sorry. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, Pio.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. So, I also want to bring it back. I want to make it clear that I don't do the Ethereum versus Bitcoin argument because they are fundamentally different, or at least not Bitcoin layer 1 versus Ethereum, right? I'll talk Bitcoin layer 2 versus Ethereum. I'm learning more about the Lightning Network and we can talk about that. But I think a lot of people try to do the Bitcoin layer 1 versus Ethereum argument, which to me is not a thing, right? So just to bring it back to the store of value thing, right? So this is not coming from me. This is coming from people that are way smarter than me, people like Robert Breedlove, the other Bitcoin maximalists that have really dedicated their lives to research, right? When you look at the history of money, there are 4 stages that all market-based monetary goods pass through in their evolution to becoming a fully fledged money. Number 1, collectible. I think it's safe to say that Bitcoin started really as a bit of a collectible, right? People didn't know what its value was going to be. People didn't know if the price was going to go up, if it was going to recover from crashes. It was a collectible, right? Number 2, store of value. This is where the market has decided that we're at now. People like Michael Saylor buying it with, corporate balance sheets. People like President Nayib Bukele buying it with government funds, right? Number 3, medium of exchange. We haven't gotten there yet. The theory is that the Lightning Network will either get us there or get us close to that. And then number 4, unit of account. So when you think about it, because Bitcoin is the first natively digital money, it's going through that 4-stage process much, much, much faster than any money in history, right? Like for gold to go through that 4-stage process, right? You think about gold. Someone just saw gold 10,000 years ago or however long ago and decided, I like that shiny thing that has value to me, right? Then it became a store of value because it became widely accepted by all humans as money. Then it actually became money, right? We used to have paper claims on gold. That was what the gold standard was. And then obviously a unit of account. So when I look at Bitcoin, it's actually tracking in an identical way. It's already in the store of value phase, which is amazing considering it's only been around for like 11 years, 12 years. And because it's digital, it's going through that so much faster. So I have no doubt that Ethereum, Cardano, whatever, like all these altcoins, I don't even like calling them altcoins, right? I like calling them crypto applications that will fulfill gaps that Bitcoin can't offer, will have ups and downs, will outperform Bitcoin over like periods of time. But the money, right, the digital gold is Bitcoin. The asset that a company will put billions of dollars into, that Apple, Facebook, whoever will put billions of dollars into, is Bitcoin. That central banks will be forced to buy, ironically enough, is Bitcoin. So that I just wanted to bring it back to that.
Okay, I'm just curious though, Pio, just personal opinion. I mean, how do you feel about there being a perfect inflation hedge? There's never really been one. Bitcoin's unique. I mean, it's gold. I mean, gold. They're still finding more of it every day.
It should be exactly. Gold should be, but there are bugs in gold that Bitcoin fixed, right? And gold should be. And for a while, it was like before modern technology made it so gamified to be able to pull gold out of the ground, and for JP Morgan to manipulate the price of gold. Yeah, exactly. Literally manipulate the price of gold, get fined for manipulating the price of gold, pay the fine with the profits that they got from manipulating the price of gold, right? So when you start to think about that, that's when gold just kind of goes out the window. My thing is, if you're saying it might be bad to have a perfect inflation hedge, that's implying that the existing fiat system and look, I don't want to say politically incorrect stuff, but the dumbasses that are operating at the highest level in our governments are doing the right thing. So if you, I disagree with you. If you think that like the world governments are operating in a way that is right when it comes to like monetary policy, then I have to fundamentally disagree with you. And all Bitcoin does is it creates a fair system that's governed by math and science versus being governed by humans that are inherently corruptible.
Okay. Well, it's just a thought exercise that I've done and asked myself, do I really want value stranded, right? Is the whole battle cry, the whole narrative behind Bitcoin really a sustainable narrative? Does it actually make sense when you put some actual critical thinking to it? Now, we might come to different conclusions. You might say, hey, I'm okay with this trade-off. I'm okay with, value being stranded, for generations, and there not being a way to tax it or inflate that value away or make it become productive back in the economy. If that's your position, that's okay. But in my mind, I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't decided whether or not a perfect inflation hedge is a good thing or a bad thing. So that's kind of my one of my main problems with Bitcoin. And the other thing is you asked a question about I don't like to do the competition between Ethereum and Bitcoin because they're wildly different, right? Ethereum has inflation. The other question is in a world where if you have predictable inflation and it can't be controlled based on whims or the motives or the incentives of certain people in power, it's all programmed in like in Ethereum. Do you need a perfect inflation hedge? Does it make sense to exist? So that's my other question to the group. Do you guys think is an inflation hedge, is that only existing because we live in an imperfect fiat system that gets gamed and manipulated versus a mathematical system like Ethereum where inflation is scheduled and you can actually look at, okay, how much is going to be burned, how much is going to be created. We know exactly what Ethereum is going to be put on the market. Does it make sense to actually have an inflation hedge? This is why I struggle with Bitcoin. I don't know if it has a place in the future. I'm not going to shut out. I'm very respectful of what it did, but I don't know in the future if Bitcoin actually has a market case, if it has market fit. What are your thoughts? Like, is Bitcoin the answer to an imperfect system, and does it have a place in a perfect system?
I mean, so quickly, and then I have more fun talking about NFTs. I'm wearing an NFT hat, but there's two thoughts. Like, Bitcoin was designed before the idea of Ethereum even came around, right? So like Bitcoin was trying to solve issues with the financial crisis. And so when you do think about what Ethereum was designed to solve for, and there's all the analogies that Saylor and Cuban and everyone uses where if Bitcoin is gold of cryptocurrency, then Ethereum is supposed to be the oil. And like some of those analogies make sense to me as well, where you do have that stationary value, but then you still have that liquidity. I do think that, we've shown already that like Ethereum is much more transactable. It's not perfect, but just the fact that we're all wheeling and dealing NFTs all day shows a lot of that where there's a lot less of that with Bitcoin, and I'm not an expert on the technology to be able to dive into all of those nuances. I try to learn as much as I can, and so like that's my perspective. Is once again, I think having a healthy mix of both, it makes a lot of sense.
Let's switch to NFTs. I didn't, for the record, I did not want to talk to John about Bitcoin. I wanted to talk to John about Ethereum and everything else that's like Ethereum related. Right now, I'd like to get.
Oh, OP, I was going to say one more thing real quick. 1559 for Ethereum is coming. If you like the store of value, I don't want to shill it, but we're going to start having two mechanisms to offset the inflation for Ethereum. So, the market forces based on demand the way it should be, right? So in an economy, you can have inflation, unless there's, significant demand, and then supply is going to fall off to offset that demand. And so it'll start burning because of 1559 and then also the staking. So you combine those two things, it could potentially be deflationary for a little while, unless, roll-ups come on and then they decrease activity on Ethereum and then eventually the block space will fill back up because there's a lot of roll-ups coming through the main chain. And, that's a whole other side conversation. But it's, if you like to store a value, I'll show Ethereum here in a minute. You're going to get some of that going forward. I think in July is when they're supposed to launch 1559. I don't know if Nick knows what the exact date is. I don't remember, but I know it was sometime in July.
Yeah, I'm happily. I've been trolling everyone in Discord today and being like, I am not selling any of my NFTs right now. I'm buying everything under the sun, and then putting this like real awkward face, which is like my favorite meme, aka I am de-risking and putting money into Ethereum and holding it and feel good about it. I think we saw a nice healthy correction. I don't believe this narrative that all of a sudden, because it's summer, like everybody in crypto just disappears. Do you know who's in crypto? Come on. We love computers. We sit on computers every day. We go on vacation for 3 days. We come back. We can't wait to get back on the computer and catch up. This whole narrative that like people are going to be like partying in Vegas all summer, you know what I mean, and selling all their crypto. It doesn't make sense to me. I think it was like a growth tech level correction, big correction. It's forming a base here. We may have another breakdown to 2000. You know what I mean? This is a lot of resistance to get through, but I don't buy the narrative that Ethereum's going away and all of this stuff getting built on it is going away. Like there's so much growth happening here. So I'm de-risking a little from the NFTs, putting it in Ethereum, and I'm feeling good about it.
Nick, let me ask you a question because I feel like we're just now starting to ramp. I felt like we had a local bottom. I really do feel like we had the local bottom. Now, I could be completely wrong. It's not financial advice. Nobody go out and buy Ethereum because I said so. But I felt like the overall market had a local bottom, especially with 1559 coming. And I think we're about to see some pickup. Do you think that that's going to dovetail into the NFT space? Do you feel like, like
yeah, that's one of the negative things.
Value?
Totally. What the thing is that NFTs actually work best in a slowly declining bear market where gas is very cheap. Ethereum bag holders are losing money, so then they look for where can they find profits, and some of them go to like DeFi farming, but that doesn't work in a declining bear market, right? That works best in like a slow bull or something like that, right? Where you're not getting hit with like too much impermanent loss. So like a slow declining bear market's perfect for NFTs. And if you look at why NFTs exploded, why sit on NFT and lose 30% of your value if you could throw it into Bored Apes and 2x it in a week? You know what I mean? So all these people rush to that. But then if Ethereum bottoms and starts increasing, then that's a negative catalyst for NFTs, especially if it's quick. And so I think it's just starting to happen, but you're going to see more and more people start to rotate out of NFTs, and probably like mid-July, there's some corrections that, are significant. And then people move back into Ethereum and move back into speculating on other coins. And then I think NFTs base build for a little bit, and then there'll be a big sector rotation to somewhere else, right? So the first cycle was NFT art, NFT gateway. Second cycle was collectibles. It's not going to be one of those two again, probably. Those things will both survive and be healthy, but the next ramp up is probably going to be games or utilities or the metaverse, right? Maybe the metaverse comes to like Sandbox Land, Decentraland, like the tech catches up and people want to go into there and do that. But that's how I'm seeing the horizon. So like I do think we'll start to see some flows out of NFTs when bananas and pickles are what everyone's aping into, which I've put about 8,000 into both because I'm completely degenerate, but I've de-risked on a lot of my other things. So I'm down low on gutter cats. I only have one ape left. I have some wicked craniums, but not much. I'm definitely I'm seeing the signs of like when we were on Nifty Gateway, where you see some trends, right? You see the pullbacks in the blue chips. Everyone starts aping into these just degenerate ass projects, which I am fully doing right now because I actually think it's a blast. As I've said, and I'm not trying to. I'm trying to go 2 for 2 on penis-shaped NFTs. So pickles was a bomb, and now we got bananas. So I'm staking my reputation on going 2 for 2 here. And actually, from like a scientific like analysis standpoint, what's happening with these boring bananas right now is fascinating. So the mint was 0.025, 8,888 were sold. And right now the floor has like plummeted to 0.01. Right. But in a late stage bull market, I had this really simple theory, which is if something's really cheap and it has a high amount of secondary volume, it creates a flippers market. Right. So all these people buying bananas right now at 0.01, if they get back to mint cost 0.025, they've more than doubled their money. They go to 0.05. Right. So they can flip to 0.02. People that buy at 0.02 can flip to 0.04. Those people can flip to 0.10. Everybody in that chain has doubled their money, and it's still a very affordable NFT. It's 0.10. You know what I mean? So that's what I saw with the pickles movement. I was like, okay, it's a meme. It's got a lot of secondary volume, and it's so cheap. Everyone can buy a little bit, right? And that thing's 16x. Of course, it tanked on like post reveal. But what's like fascinating about the bananas is you can look, and I'll link this in our chat if you guys want to pull it up. Yeah, these are the bananas right now that he's showcasing. I mean, it's silly art, but there's some cool things, and people seem to be liking it and buying it. But I just sent you a link, which is what I love to look at. You can look at the token contract, and you can just see the amount of atomic matches coming in, and those are buys, right? And you could just count how many buys. So I'm looking at, I think there's like 25 on this page, and there's been 25 sales in the past 4 minutes. So just do the math, right? If there's been 25 sales in 4 minutes, that's like more than 5 a minute, right? So 5 a minute for an hour is 300 sales. 5 a minute for 3 hours is 900 sales. So if it does 900 sales, where does that put you on the floor? It puts you at 0.03, and you have a lot of people that have probably doubled or tripled their money, right? and they can sell into the increasing demand of the ramp up. So when I'm trading stuff, not just on these NFTs, not just on like value or because I love it, like I'll be fully transparent. I made $0 or I've made 2 Ethereum back on a 4 Ethereum investment into pickles, but it was such a meme. I got so much social clout for it. We raised like $2,300 for charity. It was a blast, and the memes were legendary. If you've seen like the Piccolo Dragon Ball Z meme, like whoever made that was legendary, right? And it was just such a blast, complete meme like a Dogecoin, and it's still a 4x from the floor. But I still own like 300 or something like that. It was just fun as hell to do. And with these bananas, I went from like not buying it, and then everyone in this nifty channel that we're in, they started just buying and aping in, and I ended up buying like 130. So this may be an $8,000 loss for me.
I protested. I was like, this has to be the top. I was like,
it is the top, but that's why I'm having fun at the top. I made some money. I'm going out with a fucking bang. Like, let's go.
I was
baby.
so salty when y'all started. Like, it was like, it's the same thing with all these projects and these secret discords. It's like, this sucks. This is terrible. It's not going to be fun. I'm sitting here like pumping luchadors left and right just because I love the project. And like everyone else is like, no, we're not going to talk about that. Let's talk about these bored bananas.
And then luchadors are next because they got utility. That's the next cycle. So they're going to do great. It's going to have its moment in the sun. Right now, it's peak end of the bull run, complete mania in the collectible space. And literally, I can't even load my OpenSea wallet because I have 307 pickles right now and 124 bananas. Like I should have done this in like an alternate wallet. And I think everyone on Twitter thinks I've gone completely insane. So I look forward to when the NFT bull market sets in for my Twitter feed to return to normalcy, some deep analysis, some nice thoughts.
Here's the question: Are you buying floor bananas, or are you just holding what you have?
I am not buying another banana. I will only sell into this rip that I'm hoping for. I'll be completely transparent, but I'll tell you, you pull up the secondary volume. It's looking pretty healthy. It's a cheap NFT. There's a lot of people out there, they can't afford the gutter cats. Those ripped. They don't want a skeleton as their avatar. They can't afford an ape. Why not slap a banana on that avatar for a low price of $75? That's great for a JPEG. That's a great cheap price on a JPEG. Get your JPEGs now before the music stops. This is Beanie Babies 1999. We're at the last conference, the Great Hoorah. Get in there. Go to that Beanie Baby store, buy it for $5, get it on eBay quick for 30. You got to list quick.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Nick, so, you think that we're at the top. Malachi thinks we're at the top. I mean, I definitely think we're at the top.
Which means we're not at the top. It's something stupid.
It's true. I was just gonna say, you talked about the utility and game thing being the next thing. Like, how do you see that playing out? You've now been through 2 of these, like in full. You've been through the fine art one on Nifty Gateway. You've been through this collectibles one, just like in the thick of it, in the trenches. How could you see this next thing playing out? If you had like a gun to your head, how would you kind of call it out?
Yeah, people are going to want like utility, and I think that's like what like the team at Anon was trying to do, is like bring some utility to the market, but it's still attached to other NFTs with the prizes. Like I think what you're going to see in like the next cycle is going to be, well, first of all, can Sandbox finally launch? If Sandbox finally launches and people are now going in to the metaverses, right? That's an interesting dynamic because then it can help other NFTs. People want to have a Mad Dog Jones on their Sandbox land, right? So that could create some sort of super cycle. But at the very least, like if that happens, people would be buying Sandbox land. You would see NFTs shift into like voxel builds, like people building like a voxel building and someone buys that for 0.025, or some voxel artist builds a limited 10 out of 10 really badass thing that you can put in your space. I could see stuff like that happening in the metaverse. In terms of utility, like in our RPG raid, you know what I mean, where like you raid for gear or something like that. Like you're gonna see games. I don't know if you all were around in the CS:GO, Counter-Strike Go days when you could buy skins, and then there was a marketplace to trade skins, and then like people built websites where you could gamble skins, and then like the Fed shut it down because like 15-year-olds are using mommy's credit card to like gamble on CS:GO skins. But like they were playing a game, you know what I mean? You're gonna see utility like that. I personally think like in whatever comes next. At least like people are just going to lose interest in collectibles in a fair bit of time.
What's interesting is like we wrote one of the early articles before we even got connected with you, Nick. We were talking about Pokemon NFTs and like it's inevitable. And we published this article and like we got like 8 developers for Game Freak or Niantic or Pokemon Go immediately following us. Like within 8 hours of this article going out and us tagging it, like it's insane. And so when you think about just that future state and kind of what we're seeing, not just from like these small, like John was a big fan of Avogadro really early on.
Still a huge fan. They have a whole design studio building games around their NFTs.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you're going to see stuff like much more of that, and that's what people are going to be wanting to do.
Yeah, Avogadro was kind of. I thought it was the concept was awesome at first, but it's a little bit strange, and I feel like it hasn't caught the traction that I would have expected for what I think is probably the pioneer and one of the best projects in NFT utility. What they did was they basically combined productive assets with NFTs. So for your Avogadro to be born, you basically have to put up some sort of token, like an actual value
or something.
Yeah. So it's basically a stake, and then your Avogadro is worth. It actually has a tangible floor value. So you use 300 USDC to, bring him to life. That he's worth at a minimum 300 USDC because whoever takes hold of him, you could basically send him to the bin and take out the 300 USDC. And I'm wondering if at first I thought it was an incredible way to game and teach people about productive assets and saving. But I think that it might have had a little bit of reverse because it increased the barrier of entry for people to actually create an Avogadro and actually participate in the games. Now, once you're in and you have one, man, it's like you can make money like full-time playing these games, and it's a circular economy. It's a really cool concept. It's just for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because the initial gas or just the marketing wasn't there. But for me, I mean, it's one of the blue chips in this space in terms of gameable NFTs.
Well, I totally agree. Do you see like Teresa's comment here, where she said NFTs are still a very masculine space. The space really needs some more diversity, which in turn will bring more diverse ideas. So like without like making an implication about genders necessarily, this is so spot on. Because if you think about games like Have a Hotel, I played that as a kid, right? Like you bought Fernie in game and you were able to like design this room, and your like in-game friends would come hang out in your room and you chat and talk and do all of this. Or like The Sims, right? Like you'll probably see games like that, right? Where people can like buy NFTs and like design a house, like buy a rare couch and have that in their house, and you go in there and hang out. Like I think when you see more stuff like that, you're gonna see just a whole different ball game. Like where is the ability? Like how like literally Have a Hotel? Like if you go to Have a Hotel, it still exists. Like all it is just like these pixelated rooms, and you can buy furniture and like hang out with your friends inside. Like it's so surprising to me that, I mean, I guess like we kind of have that with Decentraland, but it's not like, plug and play. Like it's not like where you can build this awesome hangout and have people like hanging in it. Like the technology is there for us three right now to be sitting with virtual reality headsets on, like in a virtual space that we've pimped out with NFT stuff and NFT swag. And we had someone build a NFT crypto voxel thing behind us, right? And people could come and like visit and like hang out with us as we're talking. You know what I mean? That all that technology exists, but no one's done it. Instead we're flipping JPEGs in our OpenSea wallets. You know what I mean? Like the revolution will come eventually, but I think at the very least we're just going to see applications, games, cool things to do in the next 6 months.
I think it's got to be great. Like, sorry, John, it's got to be gradual, right? When you think about like what y'all were trying to do with Anon, and I think Anon was a great concept. And like I've shared with y'all privately some of the ideas that I have about some of these leaderboard ideas. And then I hate to keep going back to the luchadors, but the fact that this was an incredible, first off, all the art's on chain. I'm not going to pull it up because I don't want it to look like I'm pumping it, but there's going to literally be like these gaming components to the luchadors where like he's already talked about his roadmap where The roadmap is literally going. Sorry, that's something else I wanted to talk about. But like they're going to have wearables. This is completely on-chain art. This isn't a JPEG hosted on IPFS. It's like on-chain. And they're going to have wearables. It's going to have RPG elements where they can battle each other. They can block. They can fight. And so it's like one of those things where like, oh, wow. So we're going back to like 8-bit days to get this done. But it's one of those things that these ideas have to be tested. And one of the things is, and actually what's really interesting is Epic Games announced today like $1 billion investment in the future of this. So like, I think we're going to move very, very quickly. And I think you called it exactly right. Where like, art is always the fringe area where the art is where people explore, experiment, and Nifty Gateway, Super Rare, Maker's Place, Rareable, Mintable, like all these things. And the issue is that like with art today, there's more supply than demand. Anyone can put it out there, and that doesn't mean people are going to buy it just because it's an NFT. So then we started seeing these collectibles, very much in line with what we started seeing with Top Shot, and then these really cool avatars with CryptoPunks and apes, and then some of these less awesome projects. And I think you're spot on. So now we start combining in that utility aspect. And then once that's figured out a little bit better, the corporations are going to come in. And I would bet a lot of money, if I could, that within 2 years, all Fortnite skins are NFTs. There's no reason. And the fact that Epic made that announcement, I don't know, Nick, if you went into detail on that today, but I think Epic announcing basically that they're headed this direction is a huge signal that the future of this will be non-fungible. And what I love about that is that there's that accountability where if I buy my son a Deadpool skin, like tomorrow, Fortnite can go make 1 million more, or they could give them away or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But once this is NFTs, they could still do this. They could still do it, but it would be like season 2 Deadpool skin or whatever. And so even though if they look exactly the same, because it's more rare on the blockchain, it's really exciting. So I think we're headed there fast. We're just not there yet.
If I was in law school right now, I would become an IP lawyer and specialize in NFT Metaverse IP, because it's going to change the name. I mean, did you see Zedrun's drop where Stella Artois skinned like custom horses and people were able to like bid on those horses? And they went for like 6 Ethereum each, like some sort of like bonkers drop. I mean, Stella Artois doing a combination with Zedrun. Like, is Zedrun even legal? Is that even like legal according to U.S. laws? Like, it's literal virtual horse betting, but you can breed them and buy them. Like, imagine when some ignorant senator hears about this. We're so effed if and when that day happens. But Stella Artois is collabing with them because, like, obviously it's the future, and you're just going to see more and more and more of that.
Well, let's pull in our other guest. He's live now with us. What's up, Danny? How's it going?
Yeah.
Hey dudes, how's everybody doing, man?
What's up, Danny?
Nick, it's been forever. I missed you so much.
I'm back from the portal I went into. I've escaped the black hole.
What happened, man? It was
like a blur.
Listen, it wasn't like daily, it was hourly. We went for a couple of weeks. We exchanged hourly messages, phone calls, live videos. We were on fucking steroids.
I think Gutter Cats pumping is the sign that the Ya's got to get back together. I mean, Gutter Cats was the big one. You know what I mean? And now it's number 2. It's running for number 2. It's making a run at Bored Ape Yacht Club. I saw your 8 Ethereum buy over there today. I was like, Danny, you player. It was all over the Twitterverse. 8 Ethereum buy on the gold tat.
I've got to be honest. I think buying half a punk worth of a cat is probably not something to be proud of.
No.
I don't know though, because guess what? We have a gold tat cat in the Anon prize vault, and I got it as a prize like 2 or 3 weeks from now because I think cats are a straight just gonna rip. I've loved the art. I think it's a really cool project. So, I mean, it's a part of history to have a gold tat. There's 26 of them or something like that.
And Nick, you remember that I bought a gold tat immediately on drop night. You remember that, right?
It was like 1 Ethereum. 3.5. Yes.
Yeah.
And how much did you sell it for?
It was the most. It was the
Or
most expensive purchase at the time.
And then you did it again.
And a boom. And then I sold it. You won't believe it. I needed liquidity for my punk. So I sold it for 3.9, right? I held it all this time and I needed liquidity for my punk because as soon as I heard the Jay-Z
That's
thing,
fine. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if people realize, but if I'm not mistaken, the floor of punks has gone from 14, where it was for quite a while, to 17 in the last 24 hours. I'm not sure people are aware
with
of that.
Ethereum going up. So it's increased. The USD value has accelerated.
No. It's at 17 ETH. Oh, plus the fact that ETH is
Yes.
more expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't think in those kind of terms, right? All I want is more ETH than what I gave for it. So I think I paid 16. If somebody gives me 20 or 30 ETH or 50 ETH in the future, since I know ETH is going to be going up in that process too, it's a win-win. But the punks have been pretty flat for quite a while, and they just upped the floor. I needed the punk because as soon as Jay-Z made the thing, I said, okay, I have to get the punk today. And I didn't even know it was his Twitter pick. That Malachi told me yesterday, and I was in shock. I didn't even know it was the Twitter pick when I bought my punk. And so I had to sell the gold cats and a bunch of other things to get liquidity because I didn't want to fuck around with my Bitcoin. And so I bought the punk and I did a couple of things with my ape, like getting the right dog for it, etc. And in that process, I let go of a gold tat for 3.9 that I put 3.5. But in the meantime, I bought the 8 ETH one today. So it cost me 4 in that sense, but it cost me 8. And it's much cooler. And when you guys see what I'm going to be doing with these cats, man, you're going to go nuts. I can show you a teaser, but how would I show it?
Come on, teaser.
How do I do it? Do I share my screen?
Yeah, you can share your screen.
Okay.
Right next to the video button. Yeah.
Hey, while he's doing this, hey Mal, have you heard of OpenSea going to any other sidechain or layer 2 yet?
I haven't. I'm not aware. And then Danny, pick the tab that you want to share, and then switch to that tab. I can see you in the background. I don't know, Nick. Have you heard anything about OpenSea going to any sidechains? I haven't even been looking.
They already work with Matic.
Oh.
Yeah, there's already Matic or Polygon or whatever you want to call them. There's already like Zedrun. If you're looking at the activity feed, like a horse just sold on Zedrun, and it's like a purple, and then if you it's a purple Ethereum logo, and if you scrolled over, it says ETH on Polygon.
Oh, wow.
So it's actually really nice because there's no like gas or anything like that, really. So it saves you a lot of if you're an NFT whale, being on that would save you a lot of money.
Hold on. Let me explain this. So basically what I've done, I've sent this to my graphic designer to now do it properly, right? But I have the commercial right to everything that you see on that screen because I own them. So I'm making a derivative of multiple cats at the same time. And this one I'm going to be calling the psychedelic maximalist. And
I love that.
So you've
the
got
Satoshi tat there. Woo!
Yeah, so that's going to be done properly. We're going to tear the T-shirt at the bottom like it's worn out, on the sleeves and whatever.
Cool.
This was just what I put together on Keynote to send over to the guy. And so you've got it all. You've got the guy smoking weed. I'm going to put bloodshot eyes behind the laser eyes, which I also own. And that's going to be... That's just innovation happening right there in front of everybody. I own everything on there, and I've just put it together in a new way. And I'm not I'm not telling people, I don't think people are going to buy this, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I think I just have the coolest cat profile pic on earth for a BTC maximalist who's smoking weed all the time. But and I've just been having a great day. You can take that off now, Malachi, because it's so ugly at the moment. But I'm having fun. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Great buy. Even more utility on it now.
Yeah, that's kind of the purpose of those NFTs. It's for the clout and which ones resonate with you. So it's good to see you, Danny. You found one that resonated, and now you're making it really resonate.
No, man, I fell in love with the cats. Also, I came late into the apes. So doing this, having the highest rare fur and having the highest rare cap and having the second highest rare necklace and having the highest rare eyes, that's difficult to do in apes. I actually went to look at apes today, and laser beams were at 40 ETH, mint flooring. Gold fur is flooring at like 85 ETH, if I'm not mistaken. This were the apes. So I came late into the apes, and I'm lucky to actually have one, and it's a whole story. We won't get into it tonight. But I was in time for the cats on the first hand, so that was the real first drop that that I really went into with Nick. And after learning a lot of things from Nick, and I really aped in, I got 30 cats, and I think Nick got like 20 something at the time.
Wild.
Yeah,
What
we
a time to
owned
be
like
alive.
we owned like 5% of the whole thing. But anyway, and then I fell in love with the cats, and when they were at 0.3, I was really sad. Flooring at 0.3 because, and now that they're pumping again, it got me focused again, and I'm looking at them, and it's too obvious to me. It's just like for me, and I know that. By the way, I'm pumping, so this is not only financial advice. This is financial manipulation. I am now officially manipulating you to pump the cats. So anything that you listen to right now, it's on you. I have no morals. And I think it's so obvious now that it's going to be punks, apes, and cats. And
They're closest to 50%.
Yeah, I
like
respect the gens. I respect the gens a lot. But we'll have to see what they do because it differs a lot from the avatar thing. The punks, apes, cats, it's still within a certain conservatism of one lingo. But we'll see. If the gens makes the third place, then cats will be fourth place. And when I say fourth place or third place, I literally mean next year, 3 years' time, 5 years' time. So I'm thinking which are the avatars that the OG celebrities will not have, the ones that don't have money for a punk, because they're celebrities, but they're not that celebrity. And then they don't have money for an ape, because once again, they're celebrity, but not that celebrity. Like, don't forget, if you walk into the Bitcoin community, right, you've got a bunch of celebrities. Michael Saylor is an OG celebrity. He can afford a punk. But you start going down the chain and you get to a double Clement. Like, can he really afford a punk right now? Or would he rather have that allocated to Bitcoin? So you've got some OG BTC celebrities who are going to need a BTC avatar at some point, because Jay-Z just told the whole world how the avatar things are going to be for a few years, whether we like it or not. And it's going to be uncool in certain circles. Like, let's just get this. Any celebrity that wants to do an NFT project, if they want the help from the NFT community, their fucking pick, their Twitter pick has to be an NFT. Yeah. It will be unacceptable for the whole community.
It's a status symbol.
Yeah. Will Smith says, "Oh, guys, I'm going to launch my NFT project." We're like, "Great, Will Smith, we love you. Show us your fucking pic." "Oh, it's you and your big smile." No, man, get the fuck out of here. You got to have a punk up there, or you got to have a Beeple, or you got to have an X-Cop. You got to have something seriously OG up there.
You can't be a poser. You have to have an NFT to talk about NFTs.
Otherwise, you're just coming in to suck the money out of the market.
Like, you know what you'll probably see? Epic Games made this announcement today for the metaverse. You should start seeing executives of Epic Games picking up NFTs. Like, if they want to win the support of the existing NFT market, then you should see the CEO of Epic Games go buy a Beeple for $100K. You know what I mean? Or buy a huge plot. I mean, they probably want to do sandbox because that's competitive, but buy a $400K CryptoPunk. You know what I mean? Be like, hey, it's a networking move. It's a community building move. So I completely agree with you.
Danny, I'm curious. What's your take on hash masks? I mean, I haven't heard you really talk about them. I mean, I felt like hash masks was going to be number 2.
Hash demons?
No, hash masks.
Hash masks. I haven't seen them. I don't even know what they are.
Now
I put up a link.
I'll pull it up. We were excited about
the OG behind CryptoPunks. That's like
but they didn't take off.
I have no idea. Once again, I'm the ignorant one in the group always. I have no idea.
I mean, hash masks,
but I don't.
Hash masks just made way too many. There were 16,000 of them. And like, what made them, like, here's the thing that makes things highly collectible. Is it unique? Is it simple? Is it able to...
Scarcity, 3,000 cats. Scarcity, 3,000 cats. Scarcity, 3,000 cats. Scarcity. I've been saying it since the beginning. You guys know that, right? Have I or haven't I? Nobody gets the 3,000 cats thing. Guys, this is why the gens don't stand a chance, or bulls, or craniums, or anything. Because all these motherfuckers are throwing out 10,000 pieces of art where you only got 3,000 in the cats community. We're the highest in ownership. And once we start getting to 70, 80%, that's a community that might be stronger than the ape community.
And there's only 8,888 bananas. How many do you need to feed your cat? At least 20. At least 20. Sorry,
Guys,
I am the end of the bull run snake oil salesman's shiller. Anything I say, you should do the opposite. If I say buy bananas, you should not touch it with the 10 feet pole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but so like there's a couple things, and this is important, and let's talk about ether cards in a few. Let me answer this. Let's talk about Hashmas for a minute. Let's get to ether cards. But
Okay,
first and foremost,
tell me about them. Yeah.
No, but first, like it's great that there's only 3,000 cats, but if all three, like if 888 or Pranksy or Loopify change their profile picture to a cat, that's going to be really good for cats. The challenge is that there's so many. Apes had the head start, and Apes had so much excitement where like you're literally seeing project leads that are hopping on Spaces and Clubhouse about their derivative projects, and they're not even using their own avatars, they're using apes. And so what I was saying about my concern with the cats is that the limited volume also can play against it. The scarcity is great, but it's also fewer people that can be on Twitter, that can be focusing on that. And if I'm a cat holder and an ape holder, I tend to see people showing their apes more. That's all I'm saying.
Mal, let me interrupt, please. The only reason gold won was because there's less gold than silver. It is harder to transform gold. That's the only reason. The only reason silver is second is because besides all the other metals, it is the one that is hardest to transform. Then you got bronze. There's a biothermological energy engineering physical element to the fact that it was gold, silver. The reason Bitcoin will always have the biggest market cap out of any of the altcoins, and even if an altcoin takes over temporarily, then its margin will be the opportunity for a competitor, which will come in and steal the margin, and Bitcoin will always be long-term. You've got to have scarcity. Bitcoin is the most scarce crypto, period. Cats, at the moment, are the most scarce avatar that are in the OG list. Once push comes to shove, not 2021, not 2022, 2025, 2027, celebrities that have a cat will be far fewer than celebrities that have an ape. Having a cat will mean you're one of 3,000. Having an ape means you're one of 10,000. And I don't think apes will be more valuable. I don't think cats will be more valuable than apes. I don't think cats will be more valuable than punks. There's a first come, first win thing that's in there. But the cat community is gonna kick all the other players in the ass, the ones that are still to come, and especially all the junk that we've seen so far. And it's not that bulls aren't pretty and craniums aren't cool. And check out my account. I've got a bunch of these things, but they're 10,000, and it's so stupid. It's just so. It's like the pickles was 10,000 and the tiles are 10,000. It's just too stupid. I told the team at the tiles. I told them, I was lucky enough to get a chance to talk to them because of Nick. And I said, if I was you, I'd pause your minting. You can't have that many tiles in the market, supply and demand. Cats is going to follow a supply and demand phenomenon. And once again, don't forget how decentralized these things are. It's very, very hard for cats. Like there's no celebrity representing cats. And the same thing for apes and everything. But I'm changing the topic. But once again, I'm pumped because today I bought a whole bunch of cats. I spent a punk's worth of ETH on cats today. I'm making my own cat. Everybody, don't forget to tone down all the shit I'm saying. I'm pro-cat. I've changed my profile pic to a cat for the time being. So obviously I'm biased. This is kind of like Trump talking about himself. That's me talking about cats, right? So don't take anything I have to say seriously. But last thing I'll say, if in 2025 it ends up that I was right, you can send me a DM and just tell me that you saw the video, you heard it first, and there was this cat guy and he was fucking nuts and he spent 8 ETH on a cat which was half a punk at the time, etc., etc.
Why do I like these top dogs?
Dude, these dogs are
so
sick.
Good.
I want to say one thing.
Good. No.
I'm allergic to cats. So
hey, you should have brought that up a month ago, man.
That's my issue. Is like apes. No one owns an ape, right? I mean, like a crazy Russian.
You look at a cat, you have a mild allergy.
I look at it and I'm like, man, like it's yeah. So for me, like that's
like you want to kick it.
Yeah, that's my resistance. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have a sore throat, immediately close eyes. This project came onto our radar real quick, and One of the things that we talk about a lot, and like people are still upset that we don't cover the bulls more and those types of things, but like the bulls, I loved the art of the bulls. The artist that did the bulls is incredible. And
Just
Danny,
do a clean background next time. Clean background. Look at these. Clean background.
Yeah. There's three things that are going for it. One, it's got the clean background so you can tell what the avatar is. Two, the rare features are easy to understand and distinguish. And three, there's not too many of the rare features that are competing with each other for attention. And so like when people are creating these projects, one of the things that the apes did well, one of the things that the cats does well, clean background, it gives it space to breathe. The composition of the avatar, I hate to say it that way, is there. The clean art looks phenomenal. Same with cats. And once again, we're not competing with like a cracked horn and a gold horn and lava and all these things. So personally, like this project's launching in a couple days. I'm a big fan of it. Any project that we talk about on this website there's no promotional attribute or anything between us and those projects, at least from the NFT culture team. So you're just hearing our opinions and our thoughts. And I love that Danny and Nick are candid when they ape into something. Of course, they have an interest in it being successful. So I appreciate that they're transparent, but I like this one. It's really interesting. So I'm going to pull this comment up real quick. And
Melanie, can you tell us in the comments what you think I was right about 1 or 2 years ago, so that we know what you're talking about? By the way, since we're looking at the comments, somebody has said here, where the hell is it? I don't remember. Shit. I don't know what it was. Sorry. I was going to read somebody's comment. They wanted to ask us about something. So sorry for interrupting. But as for the bulls, Tesla. But Melanie, tell them what I said about Tesla and Bitcoin. Yeah. So Melanie, try and tell them what I said about Tesla, or at least say what I said when I said it. Anyway, back to the bulls. I'd like to say that I think the bulls art is really cool. I think the bulls art is great. I think the craniums are great. I think there's a bunch of projects which are really exciting. Bulls suffered because of the gas thing, and we know that, and we'll see where it ends up. Dogs are suffering a bit. I think all of these things will have lows and highs. Don't forget, cats went up to like 1 ETH and something, and then it came down to 3 ETH and 0.3 ETH and stayed there forever.
Yeah, there's always pullbacks.
Yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch of dynamics. And if you're a bull believer, and if you manage to mint like 10 bulls and you want this thing to work out, definitely continue with that narrative. I just wouldn't suggest that narrative when you realize it sucks. Like there are certain things.
Like this is not investment advice, but bulls are not going to make it.
Yeah, but bulls are. I think. That's not what I was saying. That's not what I was saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
not gonna make it.
Okay, I agree
Look
with
Nick. Look at the pop-up. Who just did that?
No,
not going to make it.
No, but that's not what I was saying. So I agree with Nick. I think bulls aren't going to make it, but I don't mean any disrespect towards bull. I just think that cats are going to make it, and everything else is going to fall aside because I'm fucking cat crazy at the moment. And guess what? I'm not allergic to cats, so I have no problem owning JPEGs of cats, because if I smell
Punk's
the JPEGs...
going to make it. Ape's going to make it. Cats probably going to make it.
Ether cards.
Bulls not going to make it.
No, bulls are not going to make it. I'm sorry. It's just... and it's because of the 10K thing and other factors.
And whatever it is, it just isn't it.
Yeah,
Nick, what about Ether cards? Have you followed that project at all? It's
the metaverse keys?
The Ether cards.
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah. It's the technology that LaMelo used for his drop. And so I was thinking about it. Everybody that's got those Ether cards, the original cards, as more and more people use their technology for drops, how much clout does that give?
Revenue?
Yeah, how much clout does that give the Ether card holders if that's their profile pic? You have people like LaMelo using their tech. And,
especially if it gets like airdropped, if they get airdropped rewards and stuff.
Yeah, it becomes the default standard, and that's the technology everybody uses for, gaming their communities, adding utility to their collectibles. If that's the technology people settle on, then how about the OGs that own those cards? I think Danny, I don't know what the number is, but I think it was like, man, I'm going to totally pull this out of my ass. I think it was like less than 1,000 cards that were put out there. What do you think about that? All individually drawn up art cards.
So it was kind of like a Gary V?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So a lot of the cards had you get like a fraction of revenue of the platform, or you get discounts and You know, there are all sorts of different things the cards allowed you to do and gave you access to. So it was basically like the trial concept.
Yeah, and I mean, if they're getting deals with LaMelo Ball, then they got some like winners over there. So you'd like to think that's not the top or the best.
I remember when Ether cards dropped, it had like all the who's who were involved, the people that had been in the community for like 5 years, and then you had a bunch of the DeFi bros that were involved, and you know there was big VC money behind it, and they hired a bunch of artists to do these renditions, and basically the whole concept was if you're an artist and you want to grow your community, here's different games you can do with your artwork and how you can, you know, it basically generalized what Gary Vee did himself. Right, it made that possible for any artist to come up and do.
Platformized that.
Yes. Yep. And so I'm wondering if those cards are going to be the real winner in the end, because
I may have to look into that right now.
Yeah.
No one buy cards. I'm definitely not looking at them at OpenSea right now, trying to buy the floor. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'd just like to clarify that beforehand when I said punks, apes, cats, and those are going to be the three, I meant without the utility. So I meant without VFriends.
Yeah, it's like specifically avatar collectibles.
But not just like tiles are not avatar collectibles, and they're not going to make it, and maybe hash demons are not going to make it, and they're not collectible. So just like in looking at the top 20,
I like hash demons because I think it's going to be a game.
No, it's great, but it's not going to be a top 3. In my opinion, like when we look at market cap in a year or two's time, the top 5 there'll be VFriends in there or whatever Gary Vee comes up with next. Because don't forget, VFriends are just a 3-year project, and that's all it's committed to. Then it's going to be a cute collectible for OG fans, but the utility aspect will literally cease after 3 years, and having one of these things in your collection will mean nothing more than what either Gary Vee says it means, or just the personal collectible value that it has for you and your community. But I'm pretty convinced that what Gary Vee is going to do is either launch a new Gary Vee set with some new VCons and whatever for, like, let's say another 3 years or 2 years or 10 years, whatever he figures out after the 3 years, or he'll use the same cards and just get the secondary sale and say, so now these cards are worth this and worth that. But my point is, though, Gary Vee will definitely make it into the top 5. And then, you know, we'll see which one. But right now, the fight is for the third avatar. I truly believe that the next 3 to 6 months, if anybody's listening and they believe in bulls or they believe in craniums or whatever, great. Just think to yourself, who's going to win third spot for avatars? If you can afford it now, you jump in. I know like 1 ETH is high, 1.3 ETH is high, so maybe that's not yours. So then you should ask yourself, okay, so if it's punks and then apes and then cats, who's next? Is it degens? Is it bulls? Is it hash demons? Is it craniums? Is it skulls? There's so many different projects that have come out already. Is it dogs? Is it pandas? Is it cats? I mean, ducks. There's just too many. Try and figure out which one will be the fourth one. Or if you can afford a third one, do it. Like today, final thing I'll say, today somebody sold me a cat. And I think I made a great deal, and so did they, and it was all good. But basically they said, I'm selling this, this, and this to get an ape. So that person was going from cat to ape, and that's a smart move. And if you can go from ape to punk, that's a smart move. And if you can go from bulls or whatever else to cat, that's a smart move. Now we need to figure out as a community, and you need to think for yourself, what's going to be that fourth one? Bulls, cats, hash, ducks, pandas, dogs, craniums, skulls, so many things out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to know, this is a little bit of a subject change, but it seemed like Nifty Gateway tried to do the collectibles thing a little bit with John Bergerman's Pizza Punks, and it's actually like the first project on Nifty Gateway. You said it's the best drop?
It was like the most profitable drop, I think, in like the last 30 days, right? By like a high margin.
By a huge margin. Yeah. I think it's the most profitable drop since PAC, I think.
Yeah. And that's like, and that says something. There's always going to be a space like the collectible avatar market. I love it. And I think that people can have multiple collectibles or multiple avatars that you kind of rotate between. Like I see people that will probably have a punk and another rare one that they really like, and maybe a third, and you kind of play between them. And then like you'll have other things. You'll have art, you'll have metaverse land. Like, you know, all of these ecosystems are going to live harmoniously together, but like the new hot phase, the new thing becomes the pump, and then it gets dumped, just like the ICOs back in 2018, right? Like a bunch of those things didn't turn out to be nothing, but a few of them did. If you bought Decentraland in 2018, you're probably a millionaire right now. You know what I mean? So you pick your long-term shots wisely. Your short-term shots, you can dribble the ball, you can bounce and shoot and make some quick profit. But yeah, pick your long-term shots wisely, and just like other stuff in the crypto space, there's going to be boom bust cycles. If you really believe in it, you got to diamond hands. The Bored Ape Yacht Club avatar that I have, that I made my face for a while. I have a meme pickle as it right now. I'm going to go back to the Bored Ape Yacht, but I'll never sell that, because that's just that's now a part of my online persona. You know what I mean? So that's always going to sit in there. I'm going to diamond hand that thing, boom or bust. I don't care if it's worth $0 one day. I know it's not. Imagine that thing 40 years from now. Imagine how many people were they spent a life in the ape community, or this market. A lot of the winners are going to stand the test of time as collectibles.
Yeah, no question. One topic, which is again switching gears, but it's like a nifty gateway topic that I want to talk about, is that I think the early speculation on Nifty Gateway, from the early days, call it the Wild West of February and March, was that if an artist on Nifty Gateway got auctioned by a traditional auction house like Sotheby's and Christie's, realistically, because of the precedent that was set by people, that would mean that their work would moon, their NFTs would moon. And I think we have enough examples at this point to just comfortably say that that's not the case. When you look at Ferocious is going through a major mainstream auction right now. Ferocious was just literally on CNN today. So that's you're wild, seeing right? That it's super wild. And so it has, mooned as in almost 100% profit from its drop price. But this thing was trading at 5,500, 6,000 a while back. It was just announced that Micah Johnson is going to have a drop in a traditional auction house. And Genesis has just now worked its way back to its initial drop price. What do we think about this? What do we think about the fact that it turns out that even if you get to that kind of pinnacle, that traditional Sotheby's Christie's auction house thing, it doesn't mean that the NFTs are going to moon?
Yeah, I think that on the art space, you gotta, it's in a consolidation phase, right? If Ferocious is going to be an iconic artist that's remembered for decades to come, I'm pretty sure any piece that you're buying now is, going to appreciate nicely in this consolidation. And, once people move away from avatars and stuff like that, I could see them start, exploring the art side more again. But I think that's definitely a historic drop. And I think the NFT art space as a whole has done a lot of impressive things. It's just ironic that all the impressive things happened after, it started correcting really hard, right? And didn't keep it mooning. I think for a lot of people, it's the average person can't afford all of these things. They kind of have to pick one thing that they go with. But the really top tier art, wealthy crypto and just wealthy people in the future are going to want their hands on it, right? So I still firmly believe you want 1 out of 1s, 1 out of 100s, 1 out of 10s if you're in the art space, right? Open editions that have 4,000 of them. Just logically, that's so hard to think that that's going to appreciate massively in the long run. But if you own a 1 out of 1, why does a 1 out of 1 matter? Because some rich person can buy that and say, I'm the only person in the world that has this. That means something. No wealthy person that wants to hang this up in their virtual mansion wants to be oh yeah, what's this painting right here? Oh, that's a 1 out of a 4,000 I own. You can get it for $2,000. Do they want that, or do they want the 1 out of 1 people of the Trump versus Biden that they bought for $15 million? You know what I mean? And sits on their wall. They're going to want that. So I believe in the 1 out of 1s, the 1 out of 10s with people, maybe the 1 out of 100s. That's why I think probably, if you were hitting the Ferocious draws, it probably works out nicely for you here, huh?
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that you talked about, and then we'll move on to an announcement by Danny, is that I think also we might see a return to art getting hype, NFT artwork getting hype once in-home displays, frames and digital displays for NFTs, or physical displays, I should say, for NFTs that have nice frames on them are actually just more common. I interviewed the CEO of Black Dove, and that's a company that's making digital art displays right now. And he showed me some of these that have frames on them. And it really, really is something to see when you actually see it in person. And then you see a 3D NFT being displayed in that. I do think that could spark a second wave of interest once the tech catches up there and those things aren't $5,000, $7,000. products and they're more common in people's homes, because those are absolutely attention grabbers. If you have a Whizbee gummy bear going through its mugshot, moving, that's like a pretty cool thing to have on the wall. But I'm going to pull up Danny's tweet right now so Danny can make an announcement.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to do this here on Nifty. And I think this is kind of shilling, but it's also fun. So I have no idea. But basically, I have two announcements. One of them is on the 22nd of February, 2022. So 22/2/2022, next year, I will be launching my first NFT project. And I hope everybody's around. And I'm probably going to be minting. It's probably going to be a 222 or 2,222. So that's the first announcement. And the reason it's in February is because I need a lot of time to get the team together to make this thing. But also, I'd like to show people that some of us are thinking long term, and we're not just putting together some crap and getting into the projects. And there's a lot of people. You've got to realize NFTs have come to stay. It might go up and down for a while, but there's going to be a trajectory upwards. So I've made this game. I put up this tweet where there's an image, and I have 22 Easter eggs in the image. And if you can find one of those 22 Easter eggs, you get a free NFT. So the first person has already found one, which is that it's 69 following 2,222 followers. And I sent them a hash demon as a prize. And the first Easter eggs are the ones that are going to get the biggest prizes. And then it's going to trickle down to bullshit. And I really have a lot of scum in my bag, but I'll just send it as prizes, free prizes.
That's awesome.
And then the 22nd person, so the person to find the last Easter egg, will win a gutter cat. And I'll send them a gutter cat. Yeah, whatever the floor price might be at that time. The one thing I would say is, if two people say the same thing, it's obviously the first person in the timeline that's going to win the prize. If I heart your comment, it means I saw it, but it's not one of the 22 Easter eggs. So if I comment, you got it, you won the prize, and then I'll DM you what's your address and send you the NFT. And if I do take a while to confirm your guesses, don't stress. I don't spend my day on Twitter at all. I come in once in a while, and I'll check it out. And it will be done, but like maximum 24 hours. But this is not a live game like we're playing today and then it's dead. We're going to be playing for a few days because there's a few Easter eggs that I think only the loyalist of my followers will be able to find. They'll have to go through my feed a bit, but there's a few Easter eggs that my hardcore notification followers, they know who they are. They're going to have an easier time finding those Easter eggs.
That's so cool. I'm hunting, baby.
What do you guys think, by the way? I just came up with this idea. I'm stoned out of my mind, so who in the fuck knows if this is good?
Danny, I'm sorry, I can't answer. I'm busy hunting. Sorry.
I think it's awesome. This is exactly what we were talking about, which is that people want to play, they want to do things, they want to experience, So I think this is awesome. But I'm gonna beat John though. So
yeah. I'm gonna have to drop off here. I got
and I know that this goes against what's good for you. But if you want to be kind to me, like if my Twitter feed has ever done something useful for you, then I just ask you to retweet it. I know that the more that are playing, the harder it gets for you. But I think this is 22 free NFTs, and the final one is a gutter cat on the day that I spent a punk's worth in gutter cats. I think that's something to say. Don't forget, gutter cats are flooring at 1.2, 1.3. So that's basically a $3,000 final prize. And the first prize was cool. It's a hash demon. It might come out rare. It might be what I sent that person might end up being one of the coolest hashes. Who knows? They got it for free, and you can't mint them anymore. So you got to go to secondary. But some of the prizes will be the worst NFTs you have, and you'll want to send them to someone else. I'll be honest, all right? Somewhere between like 10 and 20. When you get it, you're going to say, fuck this guy. But hey, we have some fun. You don't have to spend gas. I'll spend the gas to send it to you.
Nick's going to find all the Easter eggs.
Ooh, I'll tell you what, I was driving during the hash demon drop, and I was able to get in, and that was a huge bummer for me. So now's my chance to get one and get in and like see the reveal. I'm excited for the reveal because I love the art of that project. Seems very different. It's almost like Xcopy-ish, with like the very simplistic but yet elegant like design, and they have the utility of like potentially you're gonna be able to like battle each other in an arena or something like that. So I think that's a really cool project. So if I don't win this first Easter egg, I probably need to buy one off the floor.
If I could just give a heads up, anybody that didn't know about the hash demons in time and did not mint it at 0.013 is somebody who was not on NFTC Culture's Discord at the time, because an NFTC staff member posted it in the general communications in the NFTC Discord, and that's where I saw it. I had no idea. I clicked on the link. I saw the art. I thought it was so beautiful. And then I saw that the minting was 0.013. So I said, what the heck, can I mint it a few for myself? And if people feel that there's like some insider community that knows everything and they get shit done and then they tell you, you got to realize that's because you're not on the NFTC Discord. As soon as we know something's minting, we tell people. It's not that we're pumping it. It's not that we're suggesting it. Malachi's message was just so you know, this is minting right now. It was at the same time as bulls, so many people were focused on the bulls and they slipped them by. But if you want to be up to date with things that are happening in the moment, I bought bonsais because of NFT. I minted bonsais because of NFTC. I minted cats because of NFTC. And I've minted so many other things because of NFTC. I bought my V-Friends when Gary V was dropping them because of NFTC videos. I bought my spring summer collection Beeples because NFTC Culture was streaming the videos and active in the Discord. So you should be there as often as possible and try and don't be an asshole. That's all we ask. Do everything else, but don't be an asshole.
And if you want to miss the drops and have someone to commiserate with, I'll be right there with you, missing the drop right next to you.
So somebody's got to work, right, Theo?
Yeah, exactly. I got a new drop came out and it sold out, and Nick made like $1 million off of it. Danny aped in and 6x'd his money. Oh, good thing I missed it. Okay, cool. All right, I'll go back to what I'm doing. Okay. Everyone, thank you so much for watching.
I have one final comment. Forgive me.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to screw Pio up the ass right now. He's going to hate me and love me at the same time. Right now, live, in front of everybody, I'm going to say to Pio the same thing I've said to him for the past month. But now, because I'm telling him in front of live people, he's going to be embarrassed and he's going to get it done. I think this whole NFTC Discord spiel that I just did is worth being a clip. So I think you need to get this video, get that clip, and get it out there so that we can get hundreds of new Discord members. We can get thousands of followers on Twitter. We can get hundreds of views on these videos, because this is the best NFT content online, in my opinion. The best Tesla is the best Tesla content is Rob Mauer's Tesla Daily. The best BTC content is W. Clemente III. And the best NFT content out there by far, whether that's video, Twitter, or Discord, is NFTC Culture. So the spiel I did a few minutes ago, that was like 3 minutes explaining the drops that I saw. You're going to clip that out and get it out there. We're going to share it. We're going to make it fucking viral.
Okay, yeah, I've been putting clips out. I've been listening, and clips are dropping, and clips will come out. Everyone, you're going to get clips. Everyone that's watching, everyone's going to get a clip, so don't worry.
I'm stoned. I'm sorry, man. I'm stoned.
Don't worry about it, too. I'm going to light mine up right after this.
Never take anything I say seriously unless it's serious, and nothing is serious. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get high and cry now. Thanks, Danny. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for joining. Oh, hey, Malachi, you came in at a perfect time. Okay. All right,
yeah, real quick. I just want to say we didn't get to cover the Maneki drop. We didn't get to cover a lot of other stuff. So we're gonna do another one tomorrow. Tomorrow morning we'll cover all the drops that are coming up. There's like 3 big drops that are coming. Once again, these aren't endorsements. If we talk about it, it doesn't mean we believe in it. It also doesn't mean we don't. If we don't talk about it, it doesn't mean we don't believe in it either. It just means there's too much for us to cover. So I know there were a lot of comments for us to cover a lot of stuff. So yeah, we'll cover as much as we can.
Everybody subscribe. Thanks so much. Thanks, Danny.
Hold on, we got to put one comment up on the screen. Paulo Turone just made a comment. Put it up on the screen to say goodbye. This is one of my buddies here in Portugal, man. Like, this is one of my physical buddies, somebody that I can actually meet and do shit with.
He seems like a cool guy. Thanks for watching, Paulo. You're always watching. Everyone follow Nick at Speculator Art.
Put
follow
his comment
Danny.
up there. Put his comment
up
there. Oh, it is.
up.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Oh, my God.